Some days become unforgettable
I've
for the
loved you
happiest
since
reasons.
the day we met.
Others leave a
Yes,
scar that
1,000
quietly
times
follows
yes.
us for years. The strange thing about heartbreak is that it rarely announces itself. It arrives looking exactly like an ordinary morning. A cup of coffee, a handwritten card, a gift wrapped with love, and a future you believe is waiting just around the corner. Until one moment changes everything. This isn't just a story about losing love. It's about discovering that sometimes the person who breaks your heart also unknowingly sets you free. Welcome to StoryMun. Tonight, let me tell you about the Valentine's Day that almost destroyed me, and the stranger who unknowingly helped me find myself again. Valentine's morning arrived with the soft smell of cinnamon pancakes. I woke before sunrise, quietly slipping out of bed so I wouldn't wake my husband, Ryan. For 5 years, we'd celebrated every Valentine's Day together. This year, I wanted to surprise him. I packed his favorite lunch, tucked a handwritten letter into my purse, and wrapped a small silver keychain engraved with the words, "Still my favorite hello." Before leaving, I kissed his forehead. He smiled in his sleep, or at least, I thought he did. Around noon, I walked into the lobby of the marketing firm where Ryan worked. The receptionist looked startled. "Oh, he didn't tell me you were coming." I wanted it to be a surprise. She forced a smile and pointed toward the executive floor. The conference room. I still remember how excited I felt walking down that hallway. The gift bag swung gently in my hand. My heart was full. Then I reached the half-open door. Inside, Ryan was on one knee. A woman stood in front of him. Elegant, successful. His company director. I couldn't hear every word, only one sentence. Will you? She covered her mouth. My hands began to shake. The gift bag slipped from my fingers. The silver keychain rolled across the polished floor. Ryan turned. Our eyes met. For one endless second, neither of us moved. Then I walked away. I didn't scream. I didn't ask questions. Some kinds of pain are too deep for words. Outside, snow had started falling. I sat alone on a park bench just a few streets away. My phone rang again and again. I couldn't answer. Not because I was angry, because I was afraid that hearing his voice would make me believe there was an explanation. That night, I opened the Valentine's letter I'd written him. "Thank you for choosing me every day." I couldn't finish reading it. I folded it carefully and placed it inside a drawer. Not because I wanted to remember, because some dreams deserve a quiet goodbye. For weeks, I lived on autopilot. I went to work, came home, cried when no one was watching. One Saturday, an elderly woman named Margaret noticed me sitting alone at a community art class. She quietly sat beside me. Without asking questions, she handed me a paintbrush. "Broken hearts don't heal overnight," she smiled. "But busy hands help the soul breathe again." I laughed for the first time in months. And somehow, that tiny moment became the beginning of everything. For the next few months, I kept returning to Margaret's art class. At first, I painted to escape. Then, I painted because I had finally remembered how to breathe. One afternoon, as we packed away our brushes, Margaret looked at me and asked, "Have you ever heard his side of the story?" I froze. I saw enough. She smiled gently. Sometimes our eyes finish a story our ears never heard. Her words followed me home. That night, I opened the drawer where the silver keychain still rested. My phone buzzed. It was Ryan. The first message in months. "Please, just let me explain. If you still hate me afterward, I'll never bother you again." Against every instinct, I agreed. We met at the same cafe where we'd had our first date. Ryan looked older, not because of time, because of regret. Before I could speak, he placed a small velvet box on the table. Inside was the same silver keychain I'd dropped that day. "I kept it," he whispered. "I hoped one day I could give it back." I looked away. "I saw you on one knee." "You did." "I heard you ask her." He interrupted softly. "You heard the beginning." Then he slid a document across the table. It was a resignation letter. My CEO had accepted a job overseas. She'd built this company from nothing. I was presenting a retirement gift from the entire team. The ring belonged to her late husband. Before everyone came into the room, I knelt to return it and thanked her for believing in me when no one else did. I couldn't breathe. You turned around before you heard me say, he swallowed hard. Will you accept this back because it belongs with you? Silence, the kind that hurts. Not because of anger, because of all the time we'd lost. Tears rolled down my face. I should have stayed. Ryan nodded slowly. And I should have chased you. I called. I texted. But after a while, I convinced myself I'd already lost you. Neither of us was innocent. Neither of us was the villain. We were simply two frightened people who let one unfinished moment decide our future. Months passed before trust returned. We didn't pretend nothing had happened. We talked, really talked, for the first time in years. The following Valentine's Day, Ryan knocked on the bedroom door before sunrise. He handed me a tiny wrapped box. Inside was the same keychain. This time he'd engraved something on the back. Always ask, never assume. I smiled through tears. I almost lost you because I walked away. He gently held my hand. We almost lost each other. Outside, snow began to fall again, just like the year before. Only this time, neither of us was standing alone. Funny, isn't it? Life can change in a single moment. Sometimes because of what we see, and sometimes because of what we never stop to hear. Love doesn't survive because two people never make mistakes. It survives when they find the courage to replace assumptions with honest conversations. Before you let one moment become the ending of your story. Take one more step. Ask one more question. Listen one more time, because the truth may be waiting just beyond the silence. If today's story touched your heart, tell us in the comments. Have you ever misunderstood someone, only to discover the truth much later? Your story might give someone else the courage to have the conversation they've been avoiding. Thank you for spending these moments with StoryMun. Until our next story, the strongest relationships aren't built by people who never misunderstand each other. They're built by those who love each other enough to keep listening.